Welcome all to Mushonomics. Today we are starting with second module, that is national income. This is our 7th lecture and we are starting today second module, national income. We have completed first module on microeconomics. Now we are starting with national income accounting or national income, right? So this is the Telegram channel we are having, Mushonomics, where you can find all the PDF of the discussion that we are having here. Fine. So you can join this channel and you can download all the PDF notes which can help you to revise the class. Now let us begin with national income accounting. So the first thing that we are starting with, the definition of production. What do we mean by production? As we have already seen in our previous classes, that production is nothing but converting inputs into an output or into outputs, converting into inputs into outputs. Now what things we require for production, etc. So let's begin with the definition of, or the primary factors of production. Primary factors of production. What exactly the factors of production are? What things we need to go for production, right? That we need to understand here. So there are four factors of production, four primary factors of production. Number one is land. Now what do we understand by land? Land is not merely a physical thing, rather land implies all resources of nature, all resources of nature which we get for free, no cost attached to it. For example, land also includes mountains, rivers, mines, soil, sunlight, wind, etc. All these things comes under the primary factor of land, right? Geographical aspect, geographical location also. So all these things are nothing but land. Okay. Second is labor. Labor is nothing but workers. Workers may be skilled, may be unskilled, both skilled as well as unskilled. This is what? This is labor. And third is capital. I hope you can recall the discussion over capital good and consumer good. So capital is nothing but funds which are used to buy capital goods, which are used to buy capital goods, known as capital. We will discuss more about capital good today, so no need to worry if you are not able to recall. And fourth is entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship. What exactly entrepreneurship is? So again, an entrepreneur is a human, right? Entrepreneur is a human. So human element who organizes all inputs and uses them for production. This is entrepreneur. For example, Mukesh Ambani is an entrepreneur, right? He is organizing all the factors of production. We will discuss a little more about it. So, and entrepreneur is the one who takes risk, starting business, etc., right? Who takes risk, right? So as there are factor of production, now I hope we have understood factors of production: land, labor, factors of production. We have understood land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. In economy, we describe capital with letter K because C is used for consumption, right? So capital we describe with letter K, and there is the returns by which, for example, if you are giving land for your production, what will you get in return? That is known as factor payment. Factor payment, right? So for example, if you are giving land for production, what will you get? For giving land for production, you will get rent. So for land you get rent. For labor you get wages. Capital you get interest, right? And entrepreneurship or entrepreneur gets profit. Why entrepreneur gets profit? Because he is taking risk. Now one thing you have to understand here, see, for land we get rent, for labor we get wage, we will talk about it, and for capital we get interest, and entrepreneur gets profit, right? All these three things are also known as operating surplus. Why it is known as operating surplus is, in older days what used to happen is, this land, capital, and entrepreneur used to be only one person, right? Means the person who is zamindar, who is having lot of funds, so a capitalist maybe, and entrepreneur risk taking capability is high, etc., right? So he is the entrepreneur also, right? Now he only used to get laborers for their work, right? So they only used to hire laborers or laborers, right? So when he is hiring laborers, he has to give only wages. Otherwise, land, they are owning land, they are infusing their own capital, and they are themselves entrepreneur, right? So they don't have to give rent, they don't have to give interest, they don't have to give profit. So all these things are known as what? Operating surplus. All these things are known as what? Operating surplus, right? So but with the passage of duration, what happened is the production became more complex. The production became more complex phenomena, and now the factor of payment is there for each and every factor of production, right? So I hope you understood this point. Now let's understand one more thing here. In every economy, there are four different sectors. First is household. What do we mean by household? Household implies an individual is also an household, and a family is also an household, right? So individual is also an household, and family is also a household. For example, Mukesh Ambani is a household, right? Ambani family is a household. But when we talk about second sector is firms. Firms are nothing but producing units. Firms are nothing but producing units. Example, Reliance, TCS, right? These are firms, they are producing units. Third one is nothing but government. Example, all governance activities, responsible for all governance activities. Example, administration, taxation, defense, law and order, etc. Now we will discuss in a while, maybe in the next class. Fourth one, sorry. Let's understand fourth also. Fourth is external sector. External sector. External sector means everything outside the country, everything outside the economy. That comes under what? Everything outside the economy. That comes under external sector. We will discuss about these things, and we will also discuss how these four sectors interact with each other. So that will come under circular flow of the economy. In the next class, maybe we will be discussing this topic, circular flow, right? Now, since we have understood this thing, what is production and what are the primary factors of production: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship. There are factor payments for each factor of production. We have also understood the concept of operating surplus. We have also understood there are four sectors in every economy. Now we can start with the definition of gross domestic product. Gross domestic product, that is GDP. If we understand this definition, and when we are taking this definition to understand the concept of GDP, we will be dealing with many other concepts. So let's go with the definition first, and let's see what are the concepts hidden in it, and then we will deal with each and every concept and we'll try to understand the GDP in a better way, right? So let's take the definition of it. Total value of GDP is nothing but total value of final goods and services. Total value of final goods and services produced in domestic territory. Produced in domestic territory of an economy. Domestic territory of an economy in a given accounting year. In a given accounting year is called GDP. So the total value of final goods and services produced in a domestic territory of an economy in a given accounting year is called GDP. Now let's understand what are the hidden concepts in it. The value of final goods and services. So this is one concept. What are the final goods and services produced in a domestic territory? What constitutes domestic territory of an economy? And in a given accounting year. So let's understand what is accounting year. So if we can understand these three definitions, there are a lot more to understand the national income, but if we can understand, we can begin understanding concepts from these terms, right? So let's go with the understanding of accounting year first. What is accounting year? What is an accounting year? So accounting year is nothing but year over which government budget is prepared. Government budget is prepared. In India, as of now, it is from 1st of April to 31st of March. So for example, if we talk about financial year 2024-2025, that will be what? From 1st of April 2024 to 31st March 2025. So financial year 24-25 means from 1st April 2024 to 31st March 2025. And these each accounting year each accounting year is divided into 4 quarters. Into 4 quarters. What are these 4 quarters? Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. 4 quarters. Quarter 1 is from April to June. Then second is from July to September. Third quarter is from October to December, and fourth quarter is from January to March. So each quarter is each accounting year is divided into 4 quarters: April to June, July to September, October to December, January to March. Why these quarters are important, and why accounting year is from April to March, etc. See, this annual calculation, or the annual estimates, annual GDP estimates, this was introduced by British. So British introduced April to March, April to March as accounting year in 1867. So in 1867 British introduced this, and this annual GDP till 1996 was used to happen. Till 1996 we used to calculate, till 1996, only annual GDP estimates. Annual GDP estimates, that is no quarter estimates. So after 1996 we started with quarterly estimates of GDP also. Why quarterly estimates? To get better data, to get better analysis, because policy formulation, etc. Depends on the GDP estimates, right? So which sector is performing well, how much better we are performing, like that. So after 1996 we started with quarter estimates, quarterly GDP estimates also. Now see, let's understand this. Many of us might have heard about during COVID pandemic, India saw this is extra information we are talking about. During COVID pandemic, India saw its first technical recession. Why they are saying this was the first technical recession? Because the definition of technical recession is continuous 2 quarters of the year are having negative GDP growth rate. So before COVID also, India saw in many years after independence, we saw drought, we saw many things, right? And that was recession, that was a kind of recession. But we cannot call it technical recession, because the definition of technical recession is for two successive quarters. But we are not having quarterly data for those years, because we started till 1996 we are having only annual estimates, no quarterly estimates. That's why we are not able to understand what exactly the technical recession is. So if many of us are hearing that during COVID India saw its first ever technical recession, that doesn't mean we did not have recession in the past, right? I hope we are clear on this. So see, there are many talks that we should go with January to December financial year, but these are only these are only for debates and discussion. Government has many times thought about it, because US, UK, that is Britain, Japan, China, etc. These countries are following January to December financial year only. right? So these are the countries which are following January to December financial year, but as of now in India we are following April to March, right? So let's conclude our discussion here for today. We will discuss next topic in the next class. Thank you very much. Thanks for attending this session. Take care.